Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore in rose gold and ceramic. This is reference 26401RO. You can see and you can purchase this extraordinary 44mm bi-material offshore on our website. Subscribe to this channel if you enjoy our videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with its extraordinary boxed set and accessories, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details. That's in the upper right hand corner of this screen. Now you can see central to the screen this 44mm diameter timepiece on my 16cm circumference wrist. Now consider that my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference and fairly flat across the top, is truly dwarfed by this wrist dreadnought. The watch is 44 millimeters across the round of the case from 9 to 3, but that's not inclusive of crown guards, or chronograph pushers. It wears far larger than 44. It isn't excessively thick. That is one thing the watch simply is not. It's only about 15.5 centimeters thick, and from lug to lug it's a very impressive 56 millimeters. But again, the watch is defined by the sheer mass of its gold, and the length from 3 to 9, that's where this watch really spreads its wrist real estate and creates an extraordinary visual and, quite honestly, tactile impression as you can feel the heft of the watch on the wrist. It's paired with Audemars Piguet's superb diver style strap, which is to say that if you're borderline for wearing this watch, and I would say my wrist is borderline for this watch, this is the way you want to wear it. The diver strap is extraordinarily flexible and pliant. Unlike the hornback alligator leather, which is remarkably stiff, the diver is a wonderful ergonomic sort of crutch for those of us who have the smaller wrist but want to wear the bigger watch, because it's so flexible and it can be pulled straight around the wrist. You'll also know that it's held on with screws. This is the better way to attach a strap to a huge and heavy sports watch, far more secure than spring bars. Now it's paired with a simple but massive and beautifully finished Audemars Piguet rose gold pin buckle to match the case. You'll note that Audemars Piguet may build a bigger, bolder Royal Oak in the form of the 44mm offshore. Nevertheless, you do get Audemars Piguet standards of finish. You can see that there's a beautiful hand-laid tapered polished bevel along the flank that actually transitions from the lug hoods to the case band. Gorgeous satin graining across the side of the watch, and the expression of gaskets, the rubber of the caseback gasket, the rubber just below the ceramic bezel, as the watch is a celebration of the structural art of case construction. Now, the bezel itself satisfies because it retains traditional Royal Oak offshore polishing standards. You can see it's slightly rounded and high polished on its flanks, satin finished on its top, so advanced material, extremely scratch resistant, but nevertheless still finished to traditional standards. No corners are cut, and each corner of the hexagonal polished stainless steel bezel bolts is sharp and in sharp contrast to the black of the satin finished bezel. Now the dial features Audemars Piguet's mega tapisserie hobnail style dial pattern with a sort of gloss lacquer topping it. Now each of the registers is countersunk to give another plane of focus, and the dial contains a great deal of color between the black, the white printing, the applied rose gold, and the shocks of red for the indications of the chronograph. You'll also note the applied rose gold AP marquee adjacent to the Cyclops viewer. This is not Rolex, so the Cyclops is underneath the crystal rather than atop, depicting the date. Now there is a tachymetric scale bowl-shaped that slopes down to visually unify the watch, joining the bezel to the dial base. On the case back, you can see Audemars Piguet's in-house caliber 3126. On top there is the 3840 module, 365 parts, 59 jewels. The base caliber is Audemars Piguet's own creation with a free-sprung balance. You can see it's both free-sprung and anchored at both sides by a full balance bridge to make it robust in the face of shocks and resistant to shock-induced timing deviations. It features ceramic rotor bearings, but in a notable refinement and nod towards perhaps a more civilized wrist impression, Audemars Piguet stuck with bidirectional winding instead of going with the more efficient unidirectional type, solely because they didn't want to hear or feel the rotor in action on the wrist. And again, that's where ceramic rotor bearings come into play, helping to make up some of the efficiency lost in the name of refinement. It features a 50 to 55 hour power reserve, and it is exceptionally finished. Beats away at a stately 21,600 vibrations per hour, but accuracy is assured thanks to the free-sprung architecture as well as the immense size of the balance itself. You can see gorgeous linear Côte de Genève, tight and even engine turning across the baseplate, perlage, polishing of all screw heads with the chamfer of the slots, and you can see that the gold of the winding mass has been beautifully blackened and skeletonized. A treat for the eyes on both sides. You can see and you can purchase this Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore in rose gold and ceramic on our website.